Listen calmly. Everyone, Psalm 121 and Psalm 23. Where does my help come from? Where does my help come from? In the quiet questions of the heart, when the night feels long and the road feels uncertain, this question rises gently within us. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? The psalmist asks. And then comes the answer, steady and sure, my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, not from our strength, not from our plans, not from the shifting promises of this world, but from the one who shaped the stars, who formed the mountains, who knows your name and counts every tear. God is not distant. He does not sleep. He does not look away when you are weary. Psalm 121 reminds us that the Lord is our keeper, our shade at our right hand, our protector by day and by night. When you feel exposed to life's heat, when fear creeps in like shadows after sunset, He remains near. His care is quiet but constant. His presence is steady even when your heart is not. And then Psalm 23 speaks like a soft voice in the storm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. A shepherd does not abandon the sheep when the path becomes steep. He walks ahead. He watches from behind. He searches when one wanders. You are not forgotten in the valley. You are not overlooked in your pain. Even when you walk through the darkest valley, you do not walk alone. His rod and His staff, His guidance and His protection bring comfort, not fear. God does not promise a life without valleys, but He promises His presence within them. The shadows may surround you, but they do not have the final word. He prepares a table for you even in the presence of your enemies. In the middle of chaos, God creates a place of peace. In the middle of loss, He offers quiet strength. In the middle of confusion, He gives direction, one gentle step at a time. So where does your help come from? It comes from the Lord who guards your coming and going, from the shepherd who restores your soul, from the faithful God who holds your life in His hands today, tomorrow, and forever. Is our constant protector and source of help. This truth is simple to say, yet deep enough to hold a lifetime of fear, weakness, waiting, and hope. It means that help is not something we must create on our own, nor earn through perfection, nor chase across distant places. It means that before we speak, before we understand our need, before we even know how to ask, God is already present. He is not a late arrival to human suffering. He is not a distant observer watching from far away. He is near, attentive, steady, and unchanging in His care. Human help is often limited by strength, time, emotion, and understanding. Even the most loving people grow tired. Even the wisest minds cannot see every danger. Even the strongest hands cannot hold us forever. But God's help does not weaken with exhaustion. It does not fade with years. It does not depend on perfect circumstances. Psalm 121 reminds us that the one who keeps us does not sleep or slumber. This is not poetry alone, it is a promise about the nature of God Himself. His awareness does not switch off at night, His attention does not drift, His care does not pause while the world rests. When our thoughts race in the dark and our hearts tremble with questions we cannot answer, He is fully awake, fully present, fully able. There is comfort in knowing that our safety does not depend on how well we hold ourselves together. Many people live with the hidden fear that if they become too weak, too broken, or too overwhelmed, everything will collapse. But God's protection does not depend on our stability. It flows from His character. He is faithful even when we are afraid. He is strong even when we feel empty. He remains the same when our emotions rise and fall like waves. When we do not know how to pray, His Spirit understands our unspoken cries. When we do not know where to go, He already sees the path ahead. God's help is not always loud or dramatic. Often it comes quietly, like shade in the heat of the day. Psalm 121 describes the Lord as a shelter, a covering, a keeper. Shade does not remove the sun, but it makes the journey bearable. In the same way, God does not always remove every struggle, but He stands between us and what would destroy us. He softens what would otherwise crush us. He limits what pain is allowed to reach our souls. There are dangers we never see, sorrows we never experience, and disasters we never face, because His hand quietly stands in the way. Many people expect God's help to look like immediate solutions, clear answers, or instant change. But His protection often works through patience, endurance, and unseen boundaries. He guards our hearts when disappointment could harden them. He protects our minds when anxiety tries to steal peace. He keeps our faith alive when doubt whispers that we are alone. Sometimes His greatest act of help is not changing our situation, but keeping our spirit from breaking inside it. God's care is deeply personal. He does not guard humanity as a distant crowd, but as individuals known by name. Every fear you carry, He sees. Every silent struggle you hide, He understands. Every tear that falls when no one else is watching is counted. His protection reaches into the smallest details of daily life. He guards our coming and going, our steps forward and our moments of retreat, our beginnings and our endings. Nothing about your life is too ordinary to matter to Him. There are seasons when God's help feels invisible. Prayers seem unanswered. Doors remain closed. Pain lasts longer than expected. In those moments, it is easy to believe that God has stepped away, but Scripture tells a different story. His silence does not mean absence. His delay does not mean abandonment. The same God who watches over you in joy also watches over you in sorrow. The same hands that bless also hold you steady when you cannot stand on your own. Protection does not always mean the absence of hardship. Even the most faithful people walk through storms, loss, sickness, rejection, and uncertainty. But there is a difference between suffering alone and suffering under God's care. When He is your keeper, pain does not define your future. Fear does not control your destiny. Darkness does not get the final word. His help surrounds you like invisible walls that sorrow cannot cross. Sometimes God's protection looks like strength rising in you that you did not know you had. Sometimes it looks like peace that does not match your circumstances. Sometimes it looks like a closed door that later becomes a rescue. Sometimes it looks like a person sent at the right moment, a word spoken at the right time, or courage appearing when your heart is ready to give up. His help is creative, personal, and perfectly timed. There is also protection in knowing that your life is not random. You are not drifting through chaos without direction. The one who made heaven and earth is involved in your story. He does not guard you casually, He guards you intentionally. Every step you take is seen. Every burden you carry is noticed. Every future moment is already held within His knowledge and care. God's help becomes most precious when we realize how fragile we truly are. We are vulnerable to disappointment, to fear, to loss, to temptation, to loneliness, yet we are not defenseless. We are watched over by a God who does not grow distracted or weak. When you feel exposed to the dangers of this world, remember that His protection is closer than your own breath. There are nights when the heart becomes heavy with thoughts of what might happen, what could go wrong, what has already been lost. Psalm 121 speaks directly into these fears by reminding us that the Lord keeps us both day and night. This means there is no moment when we fall outside His care. No hour is too dark. No situation is too complicated. No mistake is too great for His mercy to reach. His help is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not dependent on your performance or perfection. It is rooted in His love. Even when your faith feels weak, His faithfulness remains strong. Even when you question Him, He does not withdraw His protection. He does not guard you because you are flawless. He guards you because you are His. There is peace in surrendering the illusion of control and resting in the truth that God is watching over your life. You do not have to see every danger to be safe. You do not have to predict every outcome to be protected. You do not have to understand every season to be held securely. The burden of ultimate safety does not rest on your shoulders, it rests in the hands. God is our loving shepherd in every valley, and this truth reaches into the deepest places of human fear and longing. A shepherd is not a distant ruler who gives commands from safety. He is someone who walks among the sheep, who knows their weakness, who understands how easily they wander, how quickly they panic, how helpless they become when they are alone. To call God our shepherd is to say that he does not lead us from far away, but from within our lives, within our struggles, within our fragile and uncertain steps. Every person, no matter how strong they appear, eventually walks through valleys. These valleys are not always visible to others. Some are made of grief that settles quietly in the heart. Some are shaped by disappointment, betrayal, sickness, loneliness, or fear of the future. Some are formed by questions that never seem to find answers. The valley is where the light feels dimmer, where the path feels narrower, where hope feels harder to hold. Yet Psalm 23 does not say if we walk through the valley. It says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It is not a rare experience, but a human one. And into this reality comes the gentle promise that we do not walk alone. God does not wait for us at the end of the valley while we struggle our way through the darkness by ourselves. He walks with us inside it. His presence is not reserved for moments of victory only. It is most tender in moments of weakness, when strength disappears, when confidence breaks, when words fail, he remains. This is the heart of being a shepherd. He stays close to the vulnerable. He does not abandon the frightened. He does not rush the wounded. Many people believe that if God truly loved them, he would remove every painful path. But Scripture shows something deeper. Love does not always mean removing the valley. Sometimes it means guiding someone safely through it. The valley is not proof of God's absence. Often it becomes the place where his closeness is felt most clearly. In the silence of sorrow, his comfort becomes louder than in times of joy. In the weakness of fear, his strength becomes more precious than in times of success. The shepherd carries both a rod and a staff. One is for protection, the other for guidance. This means that God not only guards us from what would destroy us, but also gently directs us when we do not know where to go. There are moments when life feels confusing, when decisions feel heavy, when the future seems hidden behind fog. In those moments, God does not shout from the sky. He guides quietly, step by step, sometimes through Scripture, sometimes through peace in the heart, sometimes through wise voices placed along the road, sometimes simply by closing one door and opening another. There is comfort in knowing that God understands how easily we become afraid. Sheep are not powerful animals. They do not fight well. They do not see far ahead. They are easily startled. The Bible does not use this image to insult us, but to show how deeply God understands human nature. He knows we are fragile. He knows how quickly we worry. He knows how easily pain can overwhelm us. And still, he chooses to care for us. When Psalm 23 says, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, it does not mean that danger disappears. It means fear loses its authority. The valley may still be dark, but it is no longer empty. God's presence changes the meaning of the place. Darkness without God is despair. Darkness with God becomes a passage, not a prison, a season, not a sentence, a road, not a dead end. Sometimes God's shepherding is felt as quiet endurance rather than dramatic rescue. He gives strength to wake up another day when grief feels unbearable. He gives calm in the middle of anxiety that makes no logical sense. He gives patience when answers do not come. He gives hope that survives even when circumstances remain heavy. These are not small miracles, they are deep ones. God restores the soul, not only the situation. Often the world measures blessing by visible change, healed bodies, solved problems, open doors, success and comfort. But God begins deeper. He touches the tired heart. He heals the broken spirit. He rebuilds trust that was shattered. He breathes life into faith that feels almost extinguished. A restored soul can walk through difficult landscapes without losing its identity or its hope. There are moments when the valley feels endless, days blur together, nights feel longer than mornings, prayers repeat themselves without new words. In those moments, it is easy to believe that nothing is changing, that God is silent, that progress is an illusion. But the shepherd measures time differently. He sees the whole path while we see only the next step. What feels slow to us is often careful guidance. What feels like delay is sometimes protection from dangers we cannot see. God also prepares a table in the presence of enemies. This does not always mean physical enemies. Sometimes the enemies are fear, shame, regret, guilt, or memories that return to accuse the heart. Sometimes they are voices that whisper that we are not enough, not forgiven, not worthy, not safe. And yet, even there, God offers nourishment. He offers truth to replace lies. He offers peace to challenge anxiety. He offers identity as His beloved when the world offers only labels and judgments. To be shepherded by God is to be known completely and still loved. He knows every failure and every fear. He knows every hidden doubt and every quiet prayer. He knows the parts of your story that others will never hear. And still He leads you. Still He protects you. Still He calls you His own. His goodness and mercy do not follow us only on bright days. They follow us into hospital rooms, into lonely apartments, into moments of regret, into seasons of waiting, into unanswered questions. They follow us when faith feels strong and when it feels fragile. They follow us not because we deserve perfection, but because His love does not depend on our strength. There is something deeply healing in realizing that God does not rush us through pain. He does not shame us for being tired. He does not scold us for being afraid. He walks at the pace of our healing. Sometimes that pace is slow. Sometimes it includes stumbling. Sometimes it includes stopping altogether just to breathe. The shepherd is patient. Even when we wander emotionally or spiritually, He does not discard us. He seeks, He calls, He waits, He brings us back, not with anger, but with care. His goal is not punishment, but restoration, not distance, but closeness. To be led by God does not mean a life without scars. It means a life where scars do not define worth or future. It means pain does not get the final authority over identity. It means the darkest chapter does not become the last chapter. When you stand in the valley and look around, you may see only shadows, but God sees the exit. He sees the place where light will return. He sees the moment when your breathing will become easier, when your heart will feel lighter, when your faith will feel steady again. You do not have to see it yet for it to be real. The shepherd's presence does not always remove the weight, but it changes how the weight is carried. You are no longer holding it alone. There is a strength beside you that does not grow tired. There is a love around you that does not fade. There is a guidance within you that does not abandon you. And even when the valley stretches longer than expected, even when the questions remain unanswered, even when the pain still whispers at night, the shepherd remains faithful. His footsteps do not disappear. His voice does not fall silent. His care does not weaken. In every valley, in every shadow, in every season where joy feels distant, God is still the one who leads gently, protects faithfully, restores patiently, and loves completely. You may walk slowly. You may walk with tears. You may walk with trembling hands. But you do not walk without Him.